Dream of the Red Chamber is often hailed as the pinnacle of Chinese classical fiction. However, this label barely scratches the surface of its true magnitude. It is more than a novel. It is a forensic self-portrait painted by a civilization at the absolute height of its power. A panoramic map capturing its radiant glory and its underlying rot. Its opulence and its eventual void. The story chronicles the rise and fall of a single clan. But a lineage this grand is never just a family. It is an empire in miniature. Within the high walls of the Jia mansion, Chaos Wekin condensed the very essence of the Qing dynasty's elite society, the patriarchal order, the mechanisms of social mobility through Imperial Examinations, the strategic marital alliances for political gain, and the complex ecosystem of officialdom. Within this self-contained microcosm of the Grand View Garden, populated by hundreds of characters, he constructed a micro-civilization capable of functioning on its own, and then he systematically dismantled it with his own hands. This process of dismantling was essentially an act of profound reflection. Dream of the Red Chamber does not preach from a moral high ground, nor does it attempt to offer a roadmap to salvation. It does only one thing: it stares. It gazes at how prosperity hollows itself into emptiness. It watches as rigid systems suffocate human nature. It observes how beauty reaches its absolute zenith only in the very moment of its ruin. This gaze is not merely the personal sentiment of a destitute scholar. It is a question whispered by a civilization from its collective unconscious. If all glory is destined to vanish, what was the inherent meaning of the glory itself? To answer this question, we must return to 18th century China. The High Qing era was one of the longest and most expansive periods of prosperity in Chinese history. Witnessing an unprecedented peak in population, the imperial treasury was overflowing, craftsmanship was unparalleled, and the urbanization of the Yangtze Delta led the world. Within the Forbidden City, the rituals of the court were refined to the precision of a single step or a fleeting glance, while massive commercial networks carried tea, silk, and porcelain, reaching as far as Europe. On the surface, it was an empire of absolute order and unwavering confidence. Yet deep within this golden age, the cracks had already begun to emerge. A population explosion led to a steady decline in arable land per capita, while systemic corruption reached its peak by the mid-reign of Emperor Qianlong, as peasant uprisings like the White Lotus Rebellion began to stir. More importantly, the entire system was losing its elasticity. The Imperial Examinations had become increasingly rigid, turning the eight-legged essay into a cage for the mind. The Manchu aristocracy, living on hereditary stipends, gradually lost their ability to survive, and the absolute will of the emperor loomed above the law. Political purges could descend upon any family at any moment. Chaos Wekin's family was a direct casualty of such a purge. For 3 generations, the Chaos served as the imperial silk commissioners in Jiangning, acting as the trusted confidants of Emperor Kangxi. Their power was so immense that they hosted the emperor 4 times during his southern tours, a display of wealth and pageantry that was unrivaled in the official and commercial circles of the time. However, upon the ascension of Emperor Yangzheng, the Cao family was stripped of their titles, and their wealth was confiscated. Caught in the storms of political realignment, a household that once dined to the sound of ceremonial bells was reduced to prisoners in a single stroke of fate. Chaos Wekin plummeted from a youth born into silk and jade to a life of stark poverty in the western suburbs of Beijing, feeding his entire family on thin porridge and relying on credit for wine. He did not live to witness the total collapse of the Qing's prosperity, but using his own family's fate as his source material, he wrote the empire's final chapter in advance. This transformation from personal tragedy to literary narrative allows the family portrait in Dream of the Red Chamber to transcend any single name or clan, becoming a prism through which we view the entire social structure of the Qing elite. The power structure of the Jia mansion serves as a standard template for the elite society of the Qing dynasty. The Ningguo and Rangguo houses represent the 2 pillars of the patriarchal order: seniority over youth, and the distinction between legitimate and concubine lineages. At the apex sits grandmother Jia, the moral symbol and spiritual core of the entire clan. Jia Zhang and Jia Shi manage distinct political and social functions, while women like Wang Zifeng navigate the narrow crevices of power to wield actual administrative control. Jia Zheng, a man shaped by the bureaucracy, pressures his son Jia Baoyu to study, as a Jinshi degree is the only passport to the center of power. The elevation of Yuanshan to imperial consort grants the family immense political capital. Yet the staggering cost of her grand visitation accelerates their financial collapse. Marriage, officialdom, and social obligations, every transaction rolls through a massive invisible ledger. This is the static anatomy of power. However, a static map cannot explain how a system ends. Once we add the dimension of time, the dynamic process of decay emerges. The collapse of the Jia mansion was not triggered by a single cause. Externally, there were the whims of the throne, bureaucratic infighting, and political purges. Internally, there was excessive extravagance, the decadence of the younger generation, and a disintegration of management, all fueled by a structural deficit where legal income could no longer cover the widening hole of household consumption. Wang Zifeng's involvement in usury and the manipulation of lawsuits was not born of mere greed, but because extra-legal or marginal profiteering had become the only way to sustain the facade of prosperity. With the rare exception of Jia Lan, the sons of the house had lost the will to strive. Most indulged in hedonism, cockfighting, or like the elder Jia Jing, vanished into an obsession with alchemy. When a generation loses its productivity and its drive, even the most immense ancestral fortune will be drained. Internal rot and external storms became intertwined, pushing the Jia mansion toward the abyss. More importantly, the system began to stifle human nature. The Confucian order demanded that everyone act according to their rank. Yet almost no one in the Jia mansion found happiness in their role. Baoyu loathed the exams and the bureaucracy. Daiyu was forbidden from openly expressing her brilliance and her heart. Wang Zifeng's strength was condemned by all. And even Jia Zheng, the ultimate enforcer of the rules, could only mutter at his destiny upon discovering his son's departure to enter the monastery. When a system can no longer settle the human heart and exists only to maintain surface order, its decay becomes irreversible. The fall of the Jia mansion was no accident. It was a long-standing conflict between institutional inertia and human needs, eventually ignited by a political storm. Beneath the layers of social analysis, Dream of the Red Chamber possesses a deeper dimension. Philosophy. Cao Zuekin's narrative is woven from three intellectual strands: Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. The Buddhist concept of all conditioned things are impermanent flows through every chapter of the epic. Everything born of causes and conditions is in flux. No entity exists that is eternal or unchanging. The Taoist wisdom of when things reach their peak, they must decline is equally vivid. The moment of greatest strength is the very beginning of decay. Meanwhile, Confucianism offers the voice of the middle way, suggesting that avoiding extremes might prolong life, but it cannot reverse destiny. These three philosophies converse and dismantle one another within these pages. Cao Zuekin offers no singular answer. Instead, he presents a profound gaze, watching beauty and decay occur in the very same heartbeat. When Lindy Yu buries the fallen petals, it is not mere sentimental sorrow. It is a philosophical intuition. A flower is beautiful precisely because it withers. If a flower bloomed forever, a garden would cease to be beautiful and become a lifeless specimen. Similarly, the splendor of the Jia mansion is only so moving because its dissolution is certain from the very start. Bao Yu's eventual departure to the monastery is not an escape from reality, but a letting go after seeing the ultimate truth. He sees through it all. Love fades, wealth vanishes, talent is forgotten, and even the greatest clans will be erased from the map. The Grand View Garden is the most beautiful garden in the world, but it is also a garden being slowly buried under a silent, heavy snow. This sensitivity to impermanence is not unique to the East, but Dream of the Red Chamber pushes it to the absolute extreme. It does not merely lament the transience of life after a disaster has struck. It hears the sound of falling snow at the very height of prosperity. The Qing society reached its zenith during the Qianlong era, yet all its hidden perils were planted at that very moment. Cao Zuekin did not live to see the mid-Qianlong period, but his book wrote the empire's finale in advance. This timeless insight is the very power that philosophy grants to literature. The theme of self-scrutiny at the tipping point between peak and collapse is not unique to China. Western literature offers two distinct paths of response. Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby presents obsession, using a frenzy of material excess to mask a vacuum of meaning, refusing until the very end to admit that the past cannot be reclaimed. Thoreau's Walden presents The Withdrawal, simplifying life on the fringes of civilization to preserve the authenticity of the individual soul. One path drowns in illusion, the other finds clarity through isolation. Dream of the Red Chamber offers a third path. Kaozuekin neither clung to the past nor chose a life of silent reclusion. He exited the civilization in spirit, yet reconstructed it on paper. The act of writing became his response to disillusionment. These three paths are not ranked by merit. They are simply different cultural choices when faced with the same universal fate. However, the uniqueness of Dream of the Red Chamber lies in this: the act of writing itself is the answer. Kaozuekin did not wait for the ruins to cool before remembering the glory. He completed the most exquisite portrait of that splendor, while standing in the very midst of its decay. Every great civilization reaches a tipping point, a moment where it begins to suspect its own mortality. From Rome and Byzantium to Qing Dynasty China, none were exceptions. What these civilizations leave behind is not eternal power, but the narratives of their own existence. Stories of brilliance and rot, struggle and awakening. Dream of the Red Chamber is precisely this kind of civilizational self-reflection. A book about writing anyway, even after seeing the truth. Kaozuekin knew the dream would end. Yet he made it so beautiful. Only those who have truly tasted prosperity can grasp the weight of disillusionment. And only those who have accepted that disillusionment are truly qualified to remember the glory. Ultimately, every civilization dreams of eternal splendor. Yet at the end of time, all it leaves to posterity is a story. Rome became a ruin, the Jazz Age became a novel on a shelf, the High Qing became porcelain and scrolls in a museum. But the story does not vanish. It enters the body of the next civilization, continuing to grow, continuing to be read, allowing future generations to see their own shadows within it. The book concludes with these lines: "When grief for fiction's idle words, more real than human life appears. Reflect that life itself's a dream, and do not mock the reader's tears." In this, Kaozuekin says, "Do not laugh at me, for we are all within the dream. The only difference is that some cry in the dream, some laugh." And one man wrote down the entire dream while still inside it. Even after the book is closed, the dream lingers. The finest legacy a civilization can leave is simply a story. Every civilization dreams of eternal glory, until it wakes to find itself a story.